In one of the last videos, we discussed the TUBI deal with Nielsen's, but that's not the only deal that TUBI TV is working on right now. So in this video, get ready because basically, give you another shot. TUBI TV is making a deal with original titles. As I said in the other video, Tubi TV is the dark horse of the streaming wars, and for the reason is that they are at a very substantial growth rate. It's not a giant rapid, but it's progressing very well. I mean, already we're expecting next year preliminary numbers that in ad revenue they're going to hit over $1 billion. That's the projected for 2023. And more for 2024. I mean, they are continuing to expand the network. They've already made a deal with Nielsen to be able to track, to help with with advertisers to track shows, who's watching what, how much time are they spending, you know, which programming should their advertisers be able to put there for the most amount of views. I mean, this is something that should have been done for quite some time now in the other streaming sites, but they want to keep it to themselves due to politics. But this could be their downfall, and this is why I keep mentioning. People say, "Well, this is not going to be free forever." Yeah, okay, maybe not be free forever, but it's going to be free for now on there. And one of the major things, and we got this from Deadline itself, and we also did get it from corporate, also from Tubi. Tubi plans to bring 100 new original titles to Fox-owned streaming services over the next years. More than 2 years into its run at Fox Corp, Tubi is planning to ramp up its original programming, planning 100 new film and TV titles over the next year as viewership continues to rise. The program push was one of the central messages of the streaming service's New Fronts presentation this past week in New York. Since being acquired in 2020 for $440 million, thank you Disney for that, the ad-free supported streaming service has been increasingly integrated into Fox operations and has more than double its viewership. It offers streaming access after linear premieres for many of the top shows on the Fox broadcast networks, including ratings kingpin The Masked Singer. It also taps into two corporate cousins for its originals, TMZ and animated specialist Bento Box Entertainment. The new originals will join the library of more than 40,000 film and TV titles, which Tubi says is number one among all free VODs. Among the new arrivals are comedies called Classmates, directed by Danielle Fisher, who starred on Boy Meets World. Recent forays into horror, black cinema, and holiday fairs are getting a new boost. As Fox previously reported, Tubi had 51 million active users by the end of 2021, with 3.6 billion hours of viewing. That the streaming tally was up over 40% at 2020 levels. And that's a lot on there. And they do have the receipts to back them on that. The growing population of regular Tubi viewers is unique, executives said in their pitch. 27% of Tubi viewers are unreachable via any other ad-supported video on-demand service. Demographics makes Tubi the perfect complement to Fox linear networks. Ad chief Maureen Gambelli said about 40% of the viewers are multicultural, and the average viewers are more than 16 youngsters than non-streamers. Tubi also expanding their linear offerings in burgeoning category of free ad-supported televisions, or FAST, joining the existing lineup of more than 124/7 channels, showcasing for The Masked Singer, TMZ, Studio Ramses, Global Studio Gordon Ramsay, along with Tubi Originals and Tubi in Espanol. That's right, there's a lot of Spanish on here, and we're talking regular programming, regular movies that are translated into Spanish. Tubi's approach of personalization allows for content for every community, and our record growth shows it's working. That's right, there's something for everyone, and that's important on there. Tubi's Chief Revenue Officer, Mark Roblat, said, "We are doubling down on this approach while delivering our brand partners transparency and an opportunity to reach incremental, diverse, and high-engaged consumers." Tubi also touted an initiative for advertisers, including an analysis called Campaign Insights, which looks at unique content groupings and content clusters, offering advertisers a deep audience information with goals of providing fuller context for brand messages. The announcement follows the news last week that Tubi is working with Nielsen's on expanding their measurements across the entire footprint of more than 25 devices. And that's correct. You got Tubi expanding a lot of its programming. You have original programming, the Freak Brothers. I talked about it before. It's a series, animated series. They are returning for a second season. It's done very well. They know what is going on their site, and they're saying this is what we're expanding to. Unlike the other streaming sites, which basically they are cut. You've seen what happened with Netflix. How much programming are they cutting? I mean, they're cutting a ton, including stuff that hasn't even aired yet. Meghan Markle's series, which was in production, that has been canceled. The Steve Carell TV series, Space Force, that has been canceled. They're not going to get another season out of it. And several other programs on that network that are either in production or not are not going to be seen at all, because basically, Netflix already sees the problems that are occurring with the programs that they're dealing with right now. They lost a lot. They lost a lot in the stock market right now. And I keep saying this, Tubi is the dark horse. Keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on them. Free ad base. And for those of you who keep saying they're going to eventually charge, if they eventually charge, look at what they're building to begin with. If they walk out with a great site, what would you pay for it? Build a better mousetrap. People will beat down to your doors to get your product. And this is what they're headed for. Rupert Murdoch has been in the business a long time. Whether you trust him or not, he's bringing good content to his streaming site. And he's expanding it, including live news. I mean, you go on there, you can see pretty much almost anywhere in the country, LA, New York, Florida, Texas, Louisiana. I mean, there's a lot to see there. Sports is expanding on there. They're looking at wrestling. They're looking at live entertainment. These are the things that are building this up. And this is all on the front page itself. It's not hidden. You can see everything that they're doing. They're still building the way. I mean, can they improve on the streaming site? Yeah, they can. But you know what the major difference is? It doesn't crash like everything else. Yeah, it has its crash days, but not like Paramount Plus, not like Hulu, not like Amazon and some of the other sites that, especially on a smart TV like a Samsung, which they constantly crash. I don't get that many crashes from Tubi TV versus Hulu. For example, Hulu, I'll watch 5, 6, 7 episodes. Say I'm watching an anime, and then suddenly it just crashes going into the 8th episode. And it happens constantly. And I've had updates on the television. It has its updates. But see, the thing about it is the problems continue to manifest itself on there. And the same thing, HBO Max doesn't work well on the Smart TV's app. It works better on the Chromecast. If I run it through the Chromecast through my phone or my tablet, it'll work better that way. And these are the problems that occurs, and it has to be fixed. Tubi across the board. I mean, you could say different on the comments, and please do. Have you had problems with it? Have you had problems on the streamings on it? Has something, and I'm not talking about if something is not available at that moment, and that happens from time to time. And that comes from too many people watching that particular program or movie or something like that, and that happens. Or an error pops into the basically the devices themselves. That can happen. But I'm talking about the entire site. Have you had it crash? Have you had weird things that have happened to the main page itself? But this is the growth factor. This is happening. It's going to increase. And we're going to see more of this coming across from Tubi. Crackle needs to step up a bit. And there's a lot of issues. And I'll say this, there's a lot of issues with Crackle too. It's a free site, but since it was sold off from Sony, it hasn't worked properly. Even with Sony, it wasn't working that great either, but for some reason, the quality is not as good as it used to be. And I'm talking about when you hit the main page and you start searching for stuff. Unless you know what you're searching for, if you just want to browse through it, it's harder to browse on Crackle. And I can see why Samsung pulled the app from its store. It's no longer available on the Samsung Smart TVs. So we'll see what goes on more on Tubi. And like I said, it's a dark horse. Keep an eye on it.
Did you know last gen cyber damaged your system? Make sure your internet is only